Hey guys, Gaming Off the Grid here, and we are here today with our good buddy MegaDan29.
And today we're traveling back to 2001. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Macadamian White Chocolate Stout by Untitled Art. It's a chocolate stout.
We're really excited about this episode. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's travel back to 2001.
Hey everybody, Kevin Algebra here. I want you to sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and enjoy this episode of Gaming Off the Grid. Cheers, fellas.
Here we are. It is 2001. What do you guys freaking remember from this time? It was really cool. I think you and I were just getting into high school.
Yes,
I
freshman year.
was in first grade.
Yes.
That's so weird.
Well, I know you guys are laughing, but I think we'll never forget this year in this time frame because 9/11. It's kind of a sad thing,
Yeah.
but 2001, never forget.
Yeah, I think it is. It's one of those one things in my life that I'll never forget where I was. When
Yeah, and I was
don't know
so
about you
young,
guys.
but I remember exactly where I was, and it's crazy.
I thought it was pretty crazy on 9/11 because the biggest thing was I didn't even believe it was real. I remember seeing it on the TV that they put on. They put on this thing called Channel 1 News. And I remember seeing that, and I just was like, something's not
Yeah,
real
you're like,
here.
what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, that was the first time in your life when you're kind of scared about something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember school got canceled, and I had to wait for my parents to come pick me up, and we
Yep.
were just all like stuck there in the locker.
Well, you know, our generation, I guess, up until that point, we're kind of like the privileged. We were a little too, at least you and I, we were too young to really know like the Gulf War stuff. So we had a pretty clean, growing up as far as that goes, where maybe our parents had went through some different wars and things. It's
Sure.
like, man, we didn't think this could happen to us, our country, that type of thing. But it was a cool unifying time because I remember like feeling a lot more unified and patriotic.
Yeah, we all just
Yes.
we all
No,
came
seriously.
together. That it was definitely
Yeah. That's very true.
a big thing.
I remember just thinking, like, man, started thinking about, like, could you get drafted? Could things like that happen?
yeah.
I just remember all that going through my head as I'm just sitting there in my little freshman year, getting home, and I was in the kitchen. I remember thinking about all that. And then all my friends calling me, like, man, I can't believe this, And
It was an interesting time, and it's kind of crazy because we may be finding ourselves in a time kind of memorable like that here in 2020.
Here in 2020
too. So
with
it's
the COVID and all that crazy stuff going on. It's crazy that this is like the second biggest thing of our lifetime right now.
So I guess that kind of dominated the focus of the year, but there was some other things going on in the world of pop culture. I know this was a very hard time for music and movies because like attendance was down, album sales were down, the economy really took a hit, but there were some good things that feathered in there. So we usually talk about albums.
Yeah, let's start with music. So one thing that's iconic about 2001, the first iPod Generation 1 came out. It was $400.
That's crazy.
That's crazy because they don't even make iPods anymore. I remember that thing. That thing was awesome.
That was the beginning of kind of the phasing out of CDs. Who would have thought that from 2001, you guys remember going to CD stores, I'm sure, that now in 2020
don't exist.
Like there's stores that don't even sell CDs.
Oh,
it's hard to find CDs.
And some of those stores don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But let's jump in to albums from 2001 that we would take with us to a desert island. There's a couple great albums that I'm just going to say like honorable mentions. Toxicity, System of a Down, great album. Origin of Symmetry by Muse, that's a great album. I know that you brought up Break the Cycle by Stain.
Yes.
But my album from 2001 has to be Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Ooh.
By Blink-182. Dude, this album is so cool, and like I was like a young kid, so like this punk music was so cool. Dude, First Date, Rock Show, Anthem Part 2, that's how the album starts. It's incredible. And one of my favorite tracks off the album is Stay Together for the Kids. It's kind of a sad song, but like when the chorus hits in that song, it hits with like a break of hammers. This album's so good.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say this is the second Desert Island Roberts picked a Blink-182 album, so I think it likes a little bit.
Whoa. Wow, okay, that's weird. But
dude, what's your pick?
I'm not a super big like music person. I never have been. I've always been into video games, but I was really into Slipknot.
Nice.
And we seen that Iowa came out this year. I had heard that first album, and to be honest with you, I wasn't really big on the first one at the beginning, and then I got into it. And when Iowa came out, man, I bought that. I played the heck out of it,
dude,
and Left Behind.
Are you picking that album because we're from Iowa?
Maybe I'm sorry. No, seriously, it doesn't. That was just kind of ironic. But yeah, it was. I listened to it so much while playing video games. I remember having Left Behind on repeat while I was playing stuff. I mean, it was so awesome.
Well, it was the type of music too that would maybe be in a video game. It felt like you could picture that being in like an EA Big or like.
And I would also say that's the first album where I got into that type of music, like really heavy.
Yeah.
You know, I usually wasn't really into that, and so that was the first one.
Did your parents think you were getting a little Satan in your blood or what?
Mom never said anything, but I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
She's probably, oh, he's going down the wrong path.
You're right. Yeah. Going to church, listening to Slipknot. That's what I was doing.
Yeah. I'm from Iowa, so is Slipknot, and I have never gotten into them. I know they're huge, and I know they're hits, but other than that, I just have never really given them the chance.
Well, I mean, you were really young though when they were popping. It was a big deal. It was a really big deal during the time. I distinctly remember when they landed Wait and Bleed.
Were you ever one of those people that wanted to get a jumpsuit?
No.
Did you want a jumpsuit?
I looked at them, but I never wore it. There was a guy at school that had it.
I was like, Slipknot was probably beyond that threshold of what was too heavy for me always. But I did respect them and I liked what they were doing. And their songs that were like Wait and Bleed and Left Behind.
That was a big one from this album.
Those had a melodic component. Like, I'm more of a Stone Sour fan than I am a...
Sure.
That makes sense, just because it's a little soft.
You know, that's funny you say that, because when I listened to their first album, that's kind of what I got from it, man. It wasn't really... it's tough for me to talk because these guys are musicians, but it wasn't really to me music. It was like they were just screaming and yelling.
It was just too heavy.
So it was tough for me to get into it. Now this album had more songs.
Yes, there were some melodic components. Yeah,
verse, chorus, chorus.
A structure.
Some good singing. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of
super talented group.
Good singing. What's your album?
White Blood Cells. I was a huge White Stripes. I still am. But the White Stripes during this time, I had been into their first two records, and they were kind of that low-key indie band that nobody really was knowing about. And when Fell in Love with a Girl came out, that music video. I love that song. The music video is so badass. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's like Legos.
Oh,
and it's such a good song. And then, the next hit was Dead Leaves on the Dirty Ground, and then I can't think of the name, but I Can Tell That We Are Gonna Be Friends.
Oh, that's from Napoleon Dynamite. I remember
there's something about that. Like, if you ever had that girl in your neighborhood growing up that
you always had a crush on,
always had a crush on, and would help them to the bus stop, that type of stuff, it just hit that spot with you. That's just a great record. Great guitar work on the album.
Does this album have The Hardest Button to Button?
Nope, that's on the album.
Oh, that's on the album. Yeah. That song's great.
This has Hotel Yorba. I was watching with one eye on the other side. Dude, 15 people telling me to move. I'm moving on my mind.
Jack White he's just a musical genius. He's so good, and they're a two-piece, and dude, they have so many good
There's
records.
A lot of haters because Meg White's not the most prolific and technical drummer, but I think the lo-fi aspect.
I think that's what Jack White wanted, just the simple drums, and it. Yeah, I mean, they're great.
It's a great record. It's still one that I throw in all the time. I love that album front to back. It's very good. Movies.
Now let's move on to movies. I love movies. A lot of great movies came out in 2001. Hannibal, I
thought it was kind of a shit year for movies.
Oh,
we were
really?
kind of looking through it. I mean, there were some good ones, but it wasn't like... I like being painted into a corner like, fuck, man, which one do I pick?
Sure.
I
just mean, in general, a lot of these movies are my favorites, but the first Lord of the Rings, the first Harry Potter, the first of these giant
Ocean's 11.
That's true.
Ocean's 11.
That's true.
Shrek came out. That's a huge series. Joe Dirt. That's a really odd comedy.
True. I mean, there
were some good movies. They're just not my favorite. movies.
They were tossing some seeds out in the garden.
Yeah, they were tossing some salads, definitely.
I like that.
All right, speaking of tossing salads, we're gonna get going here. Time to get back on track.
My movie. So I was under 10 in 2011, so it's no doubt that I'm picking this movie. It's still one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time. I love the whole franchise, but the first one is incredible, and that's Monsters, Inc. Mike Wazowski! Dude, this movie is so good. I love it. There's a video game of it on the PS2 that I loved when I was a kid, too. Don't play it now. It sucks. It holds your hand. It's terrible.
Where did you find that recently?
I think I found it with Captain Algebra, I think.
You're like, oh, dude, this game's fucking badass. I'm gonna play this with kid. And then the next day he called me after we got home. He's like, dude, this game fucking sucks.
Dude, they hold your hand the entire game, and it's just not... I played it for 2 hours, just okay, when are you gonna stop holding my hand? I mean, it's definitely a kid game, but this movie is so good.
Like Monsters Inc.'s supposed to be Sekiro or something.
Well, dude,
I know what you're saying.
I remember when I was a kid, I rented the Monsters Inc. video game because I was in love with the movie, and I remember loving the game, but I was also 9 years old. So Monsters Inc. dude, great movie.
Yeah, my kids, it still holds up today too.
Yeah, dude,
my kids were just watching Monsters Inc. the other day.
Movie for you.
The movie for me is kind of ironic that we're talking about 9/11 and stuff, because I think I got into a lot of like war movies, and I've always been kind of into it with like Rambo and stuff like that. But Black Hawk Down came out, and I seen that was on the list, and I kind of felt like Wes a little bit here, where I wasn't backed into a corner with picking a movie. Yeah. But I looked at him and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Black Hawk Down.
I'm gonna be honest and say I've only seen it once. I think it doesn't
really good movie, man.
It doesn't ring a bell, but I bet if we were to put it on, I'd be like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah, it's one of those movies too. I feel like maybe probably about the time we would have been like college age, where it was getting replayed on TV and shit all the time. So I feel like I've seen the movie in bits and pieces like 15, 20 times.
Yeah, it's got like a pretty cool ending and everything like that. It doesn't end the way you think it would.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, I won't get into that.
2001.
Spoilers in 2001. No, but I just remember me and my friend Paul specifically, we ended up playing the video game. He had it on computer, and we watched the movie all the time. Just big fan of the movie. It was cool.
Just so you guys know, it ends with him giving her the Dutch oven. So anyways,
moving
right along with my pick, Donnie Darko.
Okay, that is I'm not surprised you picked that, you twisted.
Well, you know, it's one of those movies that, so for a little bit, like around the time I got to college, I was kind of over the movie because I felt like it was just the cool thing for people, like all the drug kids who don't fucking.
Yeah, I remember when I went to college,
so I kind of was like, dude, there's like that wave of movies. It's just kind of like you're just like, okay, they're just making more out of it than there is. But not all that long ago, in a bargain bin, I picked it up on Blu-ray and just threw it in. I was like, man, this movie really does twist your head up. Like, what is going on? It's a movie to this day. I think I have it figured out, but I still don't know.
You're like only 90%.
Yeah, I still could be wrong with what I think, and it's just the movie's a mind fuck, but it's good.
I remember when I was in college, way later, way past 2011, and there was a bunch of people on the floor like that was their favorite movie, and they were like, dude, we gotta watch. So I've never seen the full movie. I've seen it in bits and pieces because I would pass out because we watch it at 2 a.m. When you're in college, so you're kind of drunk. And but
were you ever drunk in college? How long did you go to college?
1 semester. So I might have been a drunk a couple times, but I've seen the movie so many times in bits and pieces. I need to sit down and watch the full thing.
Yeah,
I definitely knew there was a big following for it when I was in school. A lot of people talked about that.
I feel like it definitely has like a cult. It's like a cult film kind of.
Hear about it all the time.
Okay, video games. That's what this channel is all about. This is what brings us to the dance. What gets the viewers, the people's asses in the seats. So we better talk about what our favorite video games are. Go ahead, start it off, man. This is an era that I didn't know you were really a big fan of, and then we started talking, and I got to know you a little bit more, and you've got a boner for the PS2.
Yep, and it was easy for me to pick this one, and that is Grand Theft Auto 3.
Oh, what a fantastic game.
Guys, I was looking in Game Informers back then and everything. Every time I seen any little tidbit about Grand Theft Auto 3, I was reading about it. I was looking at the pictures all the time, and I remember the big one we played was Driver 2, and we were saying, man, if only Grand Theft Auto did this. You know how you could do all this crazy stuff to have this view.
3 did it.
We finally got it. And it's New York City pretty much. It's Liberty City. But man, that game held up. My friends. Matter of fact, I was supposed to go to school the first day it came out. And I didn't. And my mom let me stay home.
Oh, your mom.
She knew you were that pumped
up. You play Grand Theft Auto. I remember having Grand Theft Auto 3 and hiding it and playing it with my parents. Because I would never play the missions. I would just like go around and shooting people.
Pretty much.
And like, dude, I remember using the cheat code to get the tank. Dude, the tank is badass.
Rhino.
Dude, yeah, when a cop car hits you, just immediately blows up. Dude, it's... Oh, man. Those games are so much fun.
If you guys think about how revolutionary that game was.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the format they used is the exact same format they're using in like today's games. Now they've obviously built on it. The graphics are better.
Yeah, it looks,
but it's the same exact.
The 3 is when they perfected,
the formula is exactly.
And it was one of those things, like, if you, as a gamer, if you've ever been really excited for something and you're not sure if it's going to deliver, and you get it home and maybe it delivered about 50%, or say, I wish you could do this though. See, GTA 3 at the time hit on every cylinder.
I feel like
above.
Yes.
It
was so good, man. My friends came over, they got dropped off at the bus that day, and I remember they came over like, dude, you got it, let's play.
So cool, banging hookers in the cars.
Yep, pretty much.
Just pull over under the trees and just watch the car go. Oh.
And the radio stations, dude, what a great freaking game.
Yeah, for real.
My game, if you've been following the channel for a little bit, you already know what it is. But I'm not going to tell you what it is first. I'm gonna tell you what else came out in 2001. So the Xbox came out in 2001, which is a pretty badass console.
Yeah.
And then a lot of great games. This was tough for me to pick. Once I tell you my pick, you're gonna be like, well, I already knew that. But Smash Bros. Melee came out. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Silent Hill 2, great survival horror game.
Yep.
Animal Crossing, Twisted Metal Black. So many great games. But my game, talk about it almost every Gaji episode, is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. My favorite in the whole franchise. The soundtrack, the levels, the skaters, everything about it is perfect. I am still playing it. I still have it in my original PS2 Slim at home, and I'm playing it now. My original copy. It's so good. I'm trying to 100% it, and every time I do, I just reset and do it again. Dude, this game is it's incredible. I think it's the perfect Tony Hawk game.
It is. It's that fine line because 4 went a little bit. 4's great,
Four
but
is
it went
great,
a
but
different
4 is
direction.
more open world.
It's kind of more like
cool.
underground.
Yeah, 3 is like the best of the original 2-minute skates, and man, it's so good.
Anytime, like, I've never even been into skateboarding, but that is a game that, dude, makes you want to go skateboard.
Dude, yeah, it
It's so
puts you
fun.
into the skate
Yes.
culture, and it's just
Yes,
like,
it
dude,
does.
I want to get into this. And I bought a skateboard because of Tony Hawk, and I couldn't even ollie.
But that's how I broke my ankle.
I remember practicing doing ollies in the front yard, and
Well, you need to be off the grass. That's part of the problem.
well, I was doing it on the grass so I wouldn't get hurt. I remember getting a brand new pair of Converse. This pissed my mom off. A brand new pair of Converse, and I was practicing ollieing, and you know how you slide your foot on it. Dude, day one, a brand new Converse, hole.
Yep,
She was so mad, but worth it.
Does she still love you?
We'll see.
All right. The game for me is a very similar narrative to what you had around GTA 3, almost identical. It's Metal Gear Solid 2.
Cool.
So Metal Gear Solid's my favorite franchise of all time, and I loved the first game, but 2, I still feel it has some of the best graphics on the PlayStation 2, but I remember when I seen that opening scene on the ship with the rain, and the first boss fight, and the gal, Olga, is her name, she gets like rain on her, like she's got that white tank top on with like the straps, and she's laying there after you take her down, you can see her nipples through the shirt.
And
like
you were like,
dude, but her shirt gets progressively wet. You leave footprints. The bad guys can notice that stuff. I just remember if you stay out in the rain too long and try hiding, Snake like gets the sniffles or he'll cough,
He's
and so
starting to
bad
get
guys can
cold.
hear.
Dude, that's crazy.
The shit that you could do in that game, you could kill hours and hours at a time. One of my favorite things to do is to like take guards out with tranquilizer darts in their eyes.
In their eyes?
And they'd fall asleep, and then if you waited for them to wake up, they'd wake up and walk around with the darts still in their eyes. And so I'd have a whole room of guys walking around just like, they go, what was that just now?
Can they
And they're
still see?
Yeah, they're fine, but the darts are poking out of their eyeballs. Like, I know that game in Metal Gear Solid 3, literally there's almost nothing you can do in those games, and I haven't figured out.
That is freaking awesome.
Is that the one where you play as Raiden?
Yeah,
Okay,
halfway through the game.
I played it.
And I hated him so much at the time. I've kind of came to love the character now. There's when you get up into the, it's like the sky, I don't even know what you would call it, the overhead type
Aerial view?
Aerial area in the game, and there's a guard over the edge, and he's just whistling. He goes over and he starts pissing off the edge, and you can take Raiden and look up into it, and he'll piss all over his face.
My God.
Yeah, and then the birds that fly, they shit. The birds will shit. You can just walk in it with Raiden and he'll go and probably even fall.
Oh my
I
God.
used to do that shit all the time. But it's an amazing game. It's a beautiful game, and it take a little. I feel like it gets lost in the shuffle when you look at the pantheon of Metal Gear games. It's definitely probably not as good as Metal Gear Solid 3. I think Metal Gear Solid 1's regarded better, maybe 4's regarded better, maybe 5 even. But man, this game at the time was just unfucking believable.
Well, it's crazy what they did from Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PlayStation 1 to Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
Like the jump in technology
yeah, it's
and
just
the
like,
jump
dude, he
in
actually has a face. It doesn't
Yeah,
look like a
and-
ball of clay that just.
Right. No, for real.
Yeah.
There's a
Yep.
huge jump, and that game is so good.
I think one thing I noticed about Metal Gear Solid 2 was like people didn't like that you played as Raiden.
Yeah,
I remember that being a big problem, and also just the fact of I think Metal Gear Solid 1 just set the bar so high
did.
that it kind of had a hard time reaching up there. You know what I'm
and
saying?
I feel like the Raiden piece is where the game was taking off at this trajectory, and you're like, dude, this is a badass game, and then like,
people wanted to be Snake.
now I'm not Snake.
Because you just played the Metal Gear Solid.
But looking back, now that there's
Yes.
so many out, you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
that's pretty freaking cool.
It's
that
more
they did.
acceptable.
You know,
Yeah.
that it's
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be my favorite game of the time.
that
for
is
sure.
a great pick. So those are our picks from 2001 Desert Island. Let's talk about this beer. Captain Algebra gave this to us.
Yeah.
Untitled Art, the Macadamian White Chocolate Stout. What do you guys think?
The nose is amazing. I will
Yeah.
say the nose on the first impression, I was like, this is going to be an amazing stout. It's getting a little closer to room temperature now. This is a good stout. I did find that it has a little more burn than I thought it was going to have for what it is.
Yep.
But overall, I'd say it's a great beer. I don't enjoy it as much as the Untitled Art Peanut Butter Stout that we had.
Yeah,
but
that was
I
pretty
do think it's very good, and I think this brewery's pretty dialed in.
I remember the nose when I first smelled this. I was like, dude, this smells incredible. Like the nut, the macadamian. It's like, oh, that smells like peanut butter, but not quite peanut butter. I feel like the nose is the best part of this. This is a good beer. But the nose is incredible. So I was kind of let down by the taste. It's still really creamy. It's still really good. I wish there was more of that macadamia nut.
Robert always wants more nuts.
I always want more of that crack, that nut, you know. And then I just wish there was more of that white chocolate. There's the creaminess is there of it, but I just wish there was more sweetness.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think of it, man?
Same as you guys. I thought the smell was like really good, and I was actually expecting better. I'm not a huge beer drinker, so this is like kind of strong for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you put it. The way you said it was like perfect. Like it was kind of.
There's a burn.
Yeah, the burn at the
Yeah.
end. That's exactly how I feel too. It like I have enough to finish it. Like I don't mind having a beer of it. But like would I keep drinking it? Probably not.
Yeah,
Not
this
so
is
much.
definitely one. It's a slow drinker, and I would probably only have one of. Like if I'm at a bar and then move on to something else.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what
I
mean?
definitely think
It's
this is
good,
one
but-
that, like in the tap room, you order 8 ounces of, and you sip on that for over probably an hour.
Yeah,
time
probably.
frame.
Sure.
It's one of those type
rich
of
and
beers.
creamy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of more on that dessert beer. It's really rich. It's a really
But
rich
it's,
beer.
It's still good. Thank you so much, Captain Algebra.
Yeah.
And dude, Untitled
Cool.
Art, they have some pretty good stuff. So.
Yeah. 2001. Pretty crazy time. It was it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. There
Yeah.
were some weird things going
And we'll
on.
never forget 2001, which is
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, it's the first episode of a few we're going to be filming with you here this weekend. We're pretty excited to have you on board.
Thanks for having me,
Dream
man.
come true for us to have you on the channel.
Oh
so
man, it's
very
awesome
cool.
being here. Seriously, in my game room.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very excited. Guys, in the comment section below, let us know, what are some of your memories from 2001? You can also let us know what your favorite musical album was, movies, video games, and also let us know what year you want to see next. We're just cracking through all the years of our lifetime and kind of taking a look back and seeing what we would take to a desert island. We always appreciate you guys tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking. We'll see you next time right here on Gaming Off the Grid.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes. I love it, dude. Yes. All right, speaking of tossing salads, we gotta get going here. All right.
Black cock. I'm not doing that.
Conker's bad for the day.
Bad for
the
the
day. Bad for the day.
Bad for the day.
I remember doing the nose.
Doing the nose.
I remember taking a smell.
Taking a smell.
Over here taking a smell.
What are we drinking today,
They
Robert?
were drinking damn it.
Dude,
Today we're
prepared.
drinking.
He was prepared. All right.
I got metal
A
sign.
little more of this fucking stuff in my bod. Oh, yeah. A little cup of soup for the boys.
Cup of soup.
Did you ever call it that?
Yes.
Giving somebody a cup of soup?
Yep.
Yeah.
What? You guys are making
You never
that
called
shit
that?
up.
That's a real thing.
No.
Yeah, you fart in your hand and deliver it
And
to
you
somebody's
deliver
front
a cup of
porch.
soup.
Right to their front porch.
Is this people's front porch?
Yeah.
Right here?
Pre-episode toast, you know. Toast is to the mostest. Let's see if this is any good. Probably tastes like fucking bull semen. No?
That's a no for me,
A
man.
little rich for your blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's creamy, dude.
Smells good.
That's creamy.
That's a thick old dick.
That's strong for me, man.
Yeah.